There is a phenomenon, it's an overused word, I know I've used it twice today, but believe me, this is a phenomenon. It's called FIGWIT, and you may not have heard of it. It started off with just 3 seconds of fame in the movie Lord of the Rings. Just 3 seconds.
All of a sudden, yeah, there's just this this huge surge of public interest from around the globe about this character called FIGWIT, which for a start had me a little bit confused because in the movie set none of us had names. We were Elf 1 and Elf 2 and Elf 3 and Elf 4.
I started to question myself as an actor. Should I really be in this industry when someone breezes in playing, what you could describe as a bit part performance and doing something phenomenal, doing something that Ian McKellen could only dream of.
Now, I do remember there were some very attractive young elves. Now, which one was he?
The Council of Elrond scene, there was tons of footage, but even watching those hours of dailies, FIGWIT just stood out. I mean, sort of like a young sort of Cary Grant or Clint Eastwood might stand out.
Yes. Yes, I remember. Yes.
FIGWIT fan club started by someone in England and someone in Israel and someone from some other country, maybe the US, I can't remember where, actually somehow getting in touch with one another and starting this fan club.
I first noticed FIGWIT. First time I saw the movie, I just sat there and saw the council scene. And he just, I don't know, it's the only thing I saw. It was really funny. I mean, he's right there on the right. You're not even supposed to look at him, but looking at the screen, whoop, FIGWIT. First time I saw the movie.
I woke up one morning, I can't quite remember where, and read it on the onering.net. I actually didn't know what the hell they were talking about, I have to admit. Somebody else had to explain it to me.
The camera's panning towards Frodo, and he's just about to say, or he's just said, I will take the ring, although I do not know the way. And they just started to say, Frodo is great. Who is that? Because suddenly they caught this glimpse of this absolutely beautiful elf extra. He had these pouting, brooding good looks. And they just spun this entire fantasy about this elf, which they named FIGWIT. That's acronym of Frodo is great. Who is that?
We went out the movie. I was with like 2 girlfriends and 3 other friends, guy friends, and I told them, "Whoa, did you see that amazing elf that was there?" And they were like, "What? No, what is wrong with you?" So I was like, right, maybe I need to find other friends.
Iris, individual, had his picture in her footer of her messages, all of her messages. This little thing above it that says FIGWIT lives. And eventually, if you were new, you had to ask. It was almost like a hazing ritual. You get in there and you have to ask, and then everybody makes fun of you because you don't know who FIGWIT is. And you go back to your classic Lord of the Rings book and flip through all the pages. I don't see FIGWIT. I don't see FIGWIT in the books. Who the hell is he?
Who the hell is that? Have I missed something really important in the movie? Or so I just followed the whole story, and then we got finally a picture, and then we got the FAQ, and so
people kept asking about him, and on the boards on the onering.net, and we got a little tired of saying, yeah, he's that and blah 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 and posting. So I figured, well, I can set up a website. People wrote songs, people made jokes, and it was a shame to let all that go. So I figured, well, we can put that on the site. Why not? And soon enough, we had a full-scale site on our hands. This is the gallery. We basically went through all the pictures and production stills from the movie, looking for FIGWIT, and we did find him. People actually sent us scans they did. So we have that as well. But still not a lot. But not just that, we have this lovely Gap of Rowan jeans. FIGWIT style and FIGWIT powder. He's kind of wiggled his ears. I built the site myself, most of it. It was supposed to be a surprise for everyone. When it was almost finished, I told Sherry about it and asked if she wants to join me, and she said, "What? Yes, of course."
The original site I loved because it was really cheesy. Good cheesy, you know. And the thing was, we didn't take any of it too seriously. I mean, we just sent ourselves up. And then people just kept writing more and more stuff. And you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're thinking, this is, yeah, it was brilliant.
It's more like an anti-celebrity sort of, they've invented a celebrity themselves rather than maybe do one of the main cast members or something. They thought, let's have some fun and propel FIGWIT to fame.
People go into this fantasy world that Tolkien invented, or that Peter Jackson and his crew have made, and then they take it further. They'll pick out some little strand from it, and they'll just run with it. You know, they'll just weave it into a whole different fantasy world of their own.
A film can operate in the way that it's the centre of other activities that branch out from it. That there's a life to the concept of Lord of the Rings, whether or not it's connected to Tolkien's book or just popular culture. That it tendrils kind of go out in different directions, and sometimes very unexpected directions. And I just think it's great if people want to embrace the film in that way and embrace characters that they see on screen. Then it's just fantastic.
There's occasions where you find actors that are on screen for a brief amount of time that have a certain magnetic attraction to the audience, and you can pick these people out and say, one day these people are going to be stars. But this is the first time in my 30-year career that I've ever seen an extra who's on screen for a few seconds develop such a huge following.
And now, you know, a whole lot of sites have sprung up about him, and it's just become, he certainly has reached cult status.
We get something like 95,000 visitors a day. So if you put a news item on the front page of theonering.net, close to 100,000 people look at it, and then they'll, a certain number of them are going to follow any links that you have on that page. So one of two things happens: or either we make somebody's website really popular, or we kind of crash their server.
The buzz on the internet, within about 48 hours, it had just gone haywire. It was unbelievable.
There's Google and there's Yahoo, the two big sites for search engines, and FIGWIT has its own category now, right there, with Aragorn and Arwen and Gandalf. FIGWIT has more sites than Gandalf. You see, he has 5, and Gandalf has 4. And Legolas has 5 also. So we made it. We're famous.
I've been running away. I've been running away.
The way I first heard about the FIGWIT phenomenon was his agent calling me in a bit of a panic, going, "Oh my God, Bret signed the confidentiality thing that all my people know they should, not talk to the press, not da-da, but yikes, this seems to have exploded."
It was the first friend I'd seen
with a fan
site on the net. We met him doing a play called Body Play at university.
Even then, in that play, there was a cast of about 30, and I remember a group of the girls getting together and voting on who was sexiest, and they voted Bret. And I remember thinking, that pixie little guy.
Yeah.
Little known fact is that Bret's dad, Peter McKenzie, plays Elendil, who's in the prologue in the very first movie.
And I was killed. And as I lay at the bottom of the cliff, Isildur, my son, cradled me in his arms, and at that point in time Sauron advanced, and he up with my broken Narsil, the sword, and chopped off Sauron's finger with the ring on it.
Does that mean FIGWIT is
the true heir
to the throne?
To the throne, and what was Elendil up to that we don't know about in all of this?
There was rather a family conspiracy, to have my 2 sons in the later conference scene in our conspiratorial family design to take over the ring.
He's probably actually one of the true villains of the entire trilogy. He's just this guy masquerading as an elf, wanting to get his hands on the ring, probably wants world domination.
What I remember most about that scene is a comment that a Tolkien scholar made, whose name is Art Shippey. I think Art asked Peter what he thought the challenge of the movie was, or what was going to be the most difficult thing, and Peter pointed out the Council of Elrond, because in the book it's a chapter of exposition, and to be able to have a chapter of exposition portrayed on screen and make it dramatic is quite a challenge.
We were there for 8 days, 14 hours a day, sitting in amongst some of the most recognised faces in the world at the moment, so it was quite an honour.
I came on to do the couple of lines at the end, and I thought, who's this character? You know, this must be a major character here in the show, and I thought maybe Pete's going to add somebody to the Fellowship, you know, maybe there's going to be 10 in the Fellowship or something. And I thought, well, it wouldn't be a bad idea if it's somebody like that.
As maybe a 10th member of the Fellowship, absolutely. As a minstrel. The thing is the Fellowship were always quite dour. There was the darkness ensuing, so to have someone along to sort of lift the spirits and make everyone sort of happy, and the songs to sort of, yes, indeed, it would have been quite nice.
I read about Flight of the Conchords on the FIGWIT Live site, but I didn't think I'd ever get to see it because it's over in New Zealand. It's so far away. And then I one summer I just got back from a holiday. I went online, checked the news, and I saw that Flight of the Conchords were going to be in Edinburgh, and they were going to be there like in about a week.
Bret was the most keen to go to Edinburgh, and it's winter here in New Zealand around that time, so thought may as well. Taika, do you want to go to Edinburgh as well?
And I said,
this is a reenactment.
Oh yeah. I went, yeah, I'd love to go to Edinburgh.
Yeah, so the next thing you know, we're all in Edinburgh.
Our flyers haven't arrived from New Zealand, so we're just whipping up some new ones. Once these hit the streets and they start reading the quotes, I think they might come along. No one else is doing a black and white flyer. Everyone else has got glossy ones, so it's going to stand out. Simple but effective.
Have you heard of Flight of the Conchords?
No.
Okay. Have you heard of Flight of the Conchords?
No.
Have you heard of Human Beasts?
No.
So what do you think of Flight of the Conchords?
What?
Would you be able to say yes when I say that?
No.
Okay.
I haven't heard of it. Why say yes?
Oh, we're just trying to make it look like people have heard of it.
Oh, it's well smart. It's really good. You should go. The humour is brilliant. If you've not seen it, go to it. Okay?
Would you say my personal pick of the Fringe?
What?
My favourite show. Would you be able to say that?
Why?
Lo show è fantastico.
È stupendo, veramente meraviglioso. Andate a guardarlo perché io em dic Jordina, vinc de Barcelona i he vist aquesta comèdia de Flight of Conchords. M'he passat molt bé, els actors són magnífics i tot és molt bonic.
Stupendo, venite a vederlo tutti quanti perché è davvero favoloso.
It's amazing. Everybody should go and see it. It's a really great show. It's well worth going to see.
These guys are so cool. We went to go see them. Amazing. I'm going twice.
People Savro in that show. Right good laugh, man.
The only thing I know of New Zealand is Lord of the Rings. Sorry.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much.
This guy's in
Lord of the Rings. I was in Lord of the Rings. I was an elf.
You were an elf in Lord of the Rings.
An elf in Lord of the Rings.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Check it out, FIGWIT Lives. Let's see this guy. FIGWIT Lives. FIGWIT.
Oh, FIGWIT Lives. Yeah, I know FIGWIT Lives.
You do? Have you?
Yeah,
oh
of course.
I'm FIGWIT, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I've never seen that. I don't believe you. No.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the website. Look at the website. I'm here.
Bret McKenzie, yeah.
No, really?
Yeah, check out the website because it says we're here doing this show.
What?
This is our show. This is my show, right?
From FIGWIT. FIGWIT show.
It's not the FIGWIT show. This is something I do separate to FIGWIT.
I don't know much about FIGWIT. I know it from the Lord of the Rings.net.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Tolkien addict.
the Dutch Lord of the Rings site, everybody there knows about the FIGWIT site. Everybody there links through it too. It's really a big joke. It's a big joke. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's great. Oh, good to meet you.
It's really hilarious. This is fun.
And now, Flight of the Conchords.
We wrote this song for probably our biggest project that we've worked on.
Yeah, it's a huge project. It's one of the many big budget feature films being made in New Zealand at the moment, making use of the the mountains and the lakes and the hobbits and stuff. And it was a great pleasure, really. We went along to the premiere, waiting to hear our song.
Well,
and
it wasn't the premiere though, Brett. It was the first Half Price Tuesday after the premiere.
Right.
Still quite a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got to the event and we were, oh, here comes our song. And then, they didn't use it and it was really hurtful.
But you can get it on some video copies, some VHS copies. Just look for the Biro Pen Special Edition.
Yeah, we've taken them out from the video shop and then dubbed our song on the end.
It's taking ages to do, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Here's the song.
Frodo, don't wear the ring. I know it's very tempting. Yes, you will appear to disappear, but the Dark Riders, they'll know you're there. Yes, Lord Sauron has many spies.
Many spies have many eyes.
One ring to find them, one ring to rule them all. One ring to bind them, one to find them, one ring to rule them all. Yeah, 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 yeah. You've got to rule them, Frodo, rule them with the ring. Come on, rule them with the ring, them. If you want him, come and claim him.
I am not a conjurer of cheap tricks.
Quickly, hide Frodo!
Do they, Gandalf?
Ah, Gandalf, my old friend. I like what you've done with your beard. There's thousands of them, and only about 8 of us will never make it.
Oh no!
We made it.
Oh, hooray!
Well, I know music that was just played for us, this incredible Hobbit song that they tried to get in the film, and somehow Peter denied them, which is a shame. And that was probably the most brilliant original Hobbit song I've ever heard in my life.
It was just a small site for a bunch of people we know. I never thought this was going to bring me to Scotland and with a bunch of people I never met before to meet the guy who played FIGWIT. No, never thought of that, never.
Things your brain can come up with. Oh my god!
Hello!
Hi, good to finally meet you. Wow. Another cameraman.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Wow.
Right.
Hi!
We're still saying that to each other.
Yeah. It's Iris and Jim.
Yeah,
Yes, that's right. How did you guess?
When I first saw the FIGWIT site, we already knew that we were going to Edinburgh. And I remember I sent them an email going, apparently that guy FIGWIT is going to be in the Edinburgh Festival. And sort of leaked the story so that maybe we'd get some audience members out of it. We got a few.
Yeah, hi, Jennifer. Nice to finally meet you.
But I guess the most amazing thing was the effort they went to, coming all around the world to see him.
It's great because, you know what, I know them so well and seeing them didn't make a big difference because it's still the same person.
You just got that little tip right there, which is just a little bit pointy. It's either an elf ear or maybe a pig ear. Very precise flatten. That is art.
So you're just seeing them in front of you instead of what they're saying on the computer screen. It's really easy actually. Like 1 hour after we met, we're like the same old conversation we always have. Elf porn.
People would talk about Figwit and how gorgeous he was and how pouty and this gorgeous elf.
They like the robes and the long hair and the, I don't know, the eternal life and the forest setting, and they find something sexy about that.
His ears have just the right amount of point to them, and his robes are obviously just flowing and graceful, and there's not a thing out of place on him. Just that smoldering, enigmatic look does pretty well on its own.
People get into elves mainly, firstly, because obviously they're very good looking and very athletic, and then there's the whole immortality thing and stamina.
The main instructions given for elves were we needed tall supermodels, basically, people that looked as stunning as models do, very slim, 6 foot and over, ideally. I think we went 5'11" and over. Androgynous, if possible, so you're not sure whether they're male or female necessarily because they all had the long same hair. Got them to wander around, do a few moves. I can't quite remember what we exactly got them to do, but basically to perform.
Oh, yeah, you guys haven't seen the US version.
You haven't seen the front page.
Oh,
bye.
US version.
Is that the center page?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Well, it was such a unique story, and the fact that we actually found FIGWIT himself that some people were unable to do, and also got the 2 people who created the site to kind of go on the record to explain their fascination with the elusive elf himself. Yeah, it just tickled people's, kind of fancy, because it's just not every day that a movie extra makes this kind of impact anywhere.
I love this. This is right, eh? That's never going to happen again, eh? That's amazing.
Because we're so well read, we're the biggest newspaper in the States. We have about 2.5 million readers a day, that what we do, a lot of people follow. And I never really kept up on what impact that had on poor Bret, for good or bad.
So they haven't called you for a TTT, have they?
What's TTT?
Two Towers.
The Two Towers.
Yeah, TTT.
After the release of the first film and FIGWIT's notoriety on the net, we thought originally that it would be really cool to have FIGWIT make a reappearance.
Yeah. So New Line's contacted you. Alright. Okay, see you, Bridget. Oh. Well, just went to bed. Just woke up a few hours later. With New Line wants FIGWIT to appear in the in the second film. So they're thinking about trying to schedule in a shot before, well, in the next week.
We actually tried to track him down to Edinburgh and did so, but we couldn't make things work. I actually tried to charter a private jet to fly FIGWIT back to New Zealand, but at that point, it was not possible.
Real disaster how it says they were going to use me for the second film, but I was out of town. I thought that they just postponed. I thought that they were going to do it when I got back to Wellington.
No, we read it like 2 days ago in the USA Today. And I was crushed. Oh my god.
It must have been bad timing. So that's pretty depressing.
Because we're not sure where to go with FIGWIT now. And if we were in the Two Towers, that would make it a lot easier for us. More FIGWIT. But we're not so sure now.
Rivendell? Elven home? Speak friend and enter.
Hello.
Riel, hi.
Welcome to Rivendell. Come in. How are you doing? This is the headquarters of the Scottish Fellowship. We've got lots and lots of things to look at. These are some lobby cards from French cinema. So there's quite a few very famous scenes from the film. And including the one at the bottom of the Council of Elrond, you can see the back of Bret's head there.
Those are my shoulders. That's not my real hair, that's a wig.
I got quite a few of my signed pictures of various actors and actresses from the film. So Elijah Wood I got, and Kate Blanchett. This one actually wrote to Ian McKellen, and he sent that one to me. That's why my name's actually on it.
Right.
And I have a Christopher Lee signed card here, and FIGWIT's up there, of course. Yeah, that was the first time I went to see your show on the Friday night 2 weeks ago.
And our first night, there were probably about 7 or 8 people. Do you remember? You were doing the lights. There's about 7 or 8 people in our show, and there was this one woman sitting by herself, and maybe 1/3 through the show, she had "Go FIGWIT," or she said, "Go FIGWIT," in a really sort of polite Scottish accent.
Yeah.
I collect trading cards, and there's 2 different sets. And
These ones you're trading, that you've got to trade.
That's right, and just for people coming to the party to just help themselves and make a donation, because we're supporting a charity. So you can put your donations in this. Have you got a coin? Because it's a special sound effect.
Okay, we'll put £1 into the...
I hope it's going to work.
What's the charity?
The charity is called the Hebridean Whale and Dolphin Trust. We've already raised £90 last weekend, and if we raise £100, we can name a dolphin. So we're trying to raise enough to be able to...
Oh, here we go.
Great, thank you.
What are you going to call a dolphin? Rivendell? No.
FIGWIT.
FIGWIT. No. Oh my god.
Hello, I'm well, thank you. I'm Anna.
I'm Brett.
Hello, Brett. Nice to meet you.
I'm Steve. Nice to meet you, Brett.
Sure.
Hello there.
Hello.
So, hi.
Hello. Gina. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
Jenny. Skype.
Oh, right.
I'm Gemma.
Gemma, hi. Awesome. I'll show you. See.
Whew. Sorry. Just push you through it anyway.
Does anyone have ears? No.
No.
Big, great.
She's got some more if you want them.
Some ears. Yeah, she put some ears on, eh?
Yeah.
What's he saying? What have we now, Brett? Keep us informed.
Just putting some elf ears on. This is a real flashback to the days I worked on it. That's my left ear. Is that right?
That's alright.
On the film. Oh, this is quite similar actually now. Yeah, sitting down, 5:30 in the morning. But it took them about an hour to get the ears on. Oh, that's really quick.
Okay.
Does it look better? Look more like FIGWIT?
These are dwarves arguing with the elves.
You play an elf, you play an elf, or you're Legolas there, right?
Yeah, you're Legolas.
I'm Legolas, yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the dwarves should take it. Oh, the dwarves don't give it to the dwarves. The elves should take it.
I will take the ring. I will take the ring. I will take it to Mordor.
That's how I did it. The ears really, got me into character. If I had the wig,
just like that.
Yeah.
I thought Brett had a really good sense of humour about it, because when it first started, it seemed to be quite mocking. Like they thought he was good looking or whatever, but they were also making him out to be quite a himbo. But he's got his own skills and talents that are separate to being an elf.
He's not FIGWIT. FIGWIT is the character. FIGWIT is the character with the humor, and Bret is something different. He's an actor and a nice guy, and so why not?
It starts off with just an elf that looks good and that catches your attention, but then you find out the guy's a musician and he's a comedian, and he doesn't just do this stuff, he does it really, really well.
phenomenon of Figwit would probably have died by now, because it probably would have died with his part in the film. But as he is doing other things which are probably of more artistic credibility and creativity than the part he had in the film, I think Figwit will probably have a much longer life than it otherwise would have had.
I decided to do the website because there was quite a few FIGWIT websites around, but there was no central place where you could just see about Bret and just link to all these other places and get a general idea of what he does. So nobody else was doing it, so I thought I'd do it. The site is supposed to just be a hobby, so it sort of gets behind a little bit, but I try to keep it pretty up to date, and especially with pictures and things, because people always want to see new pictures of Bret.
Because we've been doing shows, it keeps the Bret news going. So there's there'll be something for them to write about, an update. Bret will be performing in whatever place.
Can I see him anywhere performing?
There's a lot of people who know him who, when they want to know what he's up to, they just check my site to find out where he's going.
Occasionally you get in an audience, you'll have some FIGWIT comment. You can often tell the people who it is. When we played Melbourne last year, and look through the curtains and see if there's any, because we had quite a lot of our publicity was based on the FIGWIT thing, because people always find it out whenever they do research. They just look on the internet, and if you look at Friday the Conchords or something like that, it'll just become FIGWIT, like heaps of web pages. So they get interested in that and look through the curtains, and occasionally you see two people who look completely mismatched, could only meet on the internet, and they'll be wearing a chain with a little gold ring, the ring.
One time when I watched the show, the entire front row was just people who knew him from the FIGWIT thing, which is, and he even said he'd looked down and seen a lot of familiar faces down there, because he just filled the front row with FIGWIT fans.
Sometimes after our show, we'd be sitting around with them, and someone would say, "So how do you guys know these girls?" And I'd love saying, "Oh, these girls started an internet fan site for Bret. They're fans of Bret's."
When we came to the conclusion to The Return of the King, we thought, we've got to get FIGWIT back in the movie. He's got such a following, just to pay tribute to his fans and to the notoriety that he's earned. We've got to find a place for him. And in fact, there was a perfect scene that we wanted to do a pickup on with Liv Tyler, and immediately thought, it's an elf. Let's get FIGWIT back.
I've been running.
Check the abs on.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and they like down there. I've got a double bed just in case I need a nap during my 3-hour shoot.
Foot goes through that way.
Let's get FIGWIT back.
I'm off to makeup.
Let's get FIGWIT back.
Now he's in the chair. They are perfect fit.
Apart from this one, you can see that.
You could wait for me. You could wait for me.
Show us your ears. Nice.
Very real.
Oh yeah.
Breakfast time.
Let's get FIGWIT back. Let's get FIGWIT back.
Arwen. Lady Arwen.
There you go.
Sounds like they might not be able to see my ears anyway.
Oh. Nervous?
Arwen. Elrond has specifically asked me to make sure that Alwyn is with us. And my commitment is there. And so I find out she does go, turns on the elves, and gives up her immortality. Oh no, does she give up her immortality? Does she? Aragorn dies, but she still looks young. She dies, she loses her immortality. Better find out.
He's amazing. I mean, when he's in the front of the camera, he can capture the emotion, the sentiment. I'm very fan of Bret. I mean, the first time I've seen him, I knew he's going to go, "Hey, Bret."
Okay, action.
Lady Arwen, we cannot delay. My lady. My lady. My lady.
We went carefully through all the takes. We went take 1, take 2, take 3. It all sounded the same. My lady, my lady. It didn't really get much better. And we finally got. We actually got down to take 17. We said, well, this is going to have to be take 17 because it was basically it. We'd have to do something with it. The process that we go through, of course, with Pete's films is he always likes us to cut all the scenes, even though you might read the script and say, oh, this scene's never going to go in there. I mean, it's a waste of time. Why bother? Why bother even spending the time cutting it? It's not going to be in there. And so, we obviously said this about this scene at various times because it didn't go into film too. And that happens a lot of times. Some stuff just remains on the shelf all the time, never gets into the theatrical version. No one ever sees it. I believe that that he wasn't sure he's in the movie actually until we actually went to see it in the theatres.
Welcome to the biggest day Wellington's ever seen, the Lord of the Rings world premiere, Return of the King. The Black Seeds are about to play live before Peter Jackson hits the red carpet at 3:15.
Premiere and realized, hey, that's Bret. So that's cool to meet him here. And yeah, he surely got the crowd going. You could hear the rounding through the crowd. FIGWIT, FIGWIT, and lots of explanations.
I think there's no doubt that if FIGWIT is in the film, our Oscar prospects will definitely improve if he's in the film. I mean, we need to win that Best Picture, and frankly, we're going to do whatever is necessary to do so. So if getting FIGWIT into the movie is what we need to do, then I think that Peter Jackson and New Line are prepared to do that.
Lady Alwen, we cannot delay. My lady!
The scene worked quite well, and so we left it in because it was one of those scenes that we needed, FIGWIT was pretty lucky getting in there because it could have just been a DV edition, and it's not so good.
When I saw the first public viewing, when it was released, then this kind of huge whisper ran through the whole theatre, FIGWIT, that's FIGWIT, that's FIGWIT. And I was like, yes, it really is. And I was so delighted, and delighted that everyone got it too, I mean, it was obvious that the filmmakers had enjoyed our little game of turning FIGWIT into somebody, and, they were playing along with it and kind of joining in a way, and I think people love that. I mean, it's just such a nice thing to do.
We shot well over 6 million feet of film for the trilogy, and I would say that FIGWIT or Bret McKenzie is probably on about a couple of 100 feet of those 6 million feet of film, and in the film itself he's probably on about 20 feet of film, something like that.
It's very rare that you get second opportunity. You're in there as an extra and you've got a non-speaking part, your background. I mean, no one really cares about you. I mean, just as long as you're not doing anything silly in the background, you're going to stay in the movie. And he had the opportunity of coming back, and he had he went from an extra to a speaking part.
The guy had 3 seconds of screen time, and in that, people just they could see all the talent that's behind him. I mean, all these other things they do. Nobody knew about that when they first just saw FIGWIT on the screen, but it just comes straight out of him. You can tell that there's something great about this guy, and he's just going to go on getting greater.
I'm not sure if it was great enough to become as big as FIGWIT's become, but I think it's very funny. You know, Bret's a nice guy. If Bret wasn't a nice guy, I'd think it was a drag. But, you know, I think it's great if somebody gets a break, and you never know what it might do, where it might go.
I hope he goes far. I hope we start to see him, you know, up in lead roles from here on in.
Takes the whole thing from being 15 minutes of fame to 3 seconds of fame, and all you have to do is pout.
Hey, if he's very popular, if he becomes a big star, if he sort of enters Tom Cruise kind of status, then God, I'll, you know, definitely want to work with him again.
And I'm really glad that we got him and not some random extra. I'm just glad. Yeah, I'm just glad we got him.
To do. We were making out in the making out.
This is not going to be anything like FIGWIT.
Really works with their team.
Should I go this way or this way? I'm going to...
Sort of a... How's that? Is that any good?
And them security guards put down their porno magazines to see that we were making out in the vending room. Making out like it's so easy to do. We were making out in the vending room. Making out like it's so easy to do. You're gonna have to try your clothes again.
Oh, yeah.
Making out in the vending room. Making out,
And scene.